Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I am honored to be having with me in the studio for tonight Dr. Amany, Houla, the physician, the writer, and the head of the Board of Trustees of an NGO. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you.
Anytime. Of course, we were speaking more about the social protection package that we have seen over the past few days being announced by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to the Egyptian citizens starting from next March. How do you see the importance of such a package, especially at this time?
Of course, we cannot deny the marathon of prices with accelerated crisis and even external and internal pressures, which will make it very difficult for the normal citizen to have their normal daily activities. So the actions have been taken are really, I think, great to help and to compete with the crisis and de-accelerate the effects of it on the, especially the needy people.
Yes, exactly. The higher prices of that we have seen over the past few months globally, not just in Egypt or in Africa. How did you see the response of the government and the political leadership as a head of the Board of Trustees of a non-governmental organization to be controlling the prices for the favor or for the sake of the citizen?
We cannot deny that there is a very difficult equation because we have many challenges, starting from the outbreak of war trying to attract us or try to put us in a position of a big problem with neighbors.
Yes.
And in the same time, we have already many projects, national projects are already on progress. We cannot stop them, we cannot delay them. This will make a big cost in the future. And in the same time, we have to take care of the needs of the people and try to achieve a kind of compensation to help them to can continue according to the crisis progress happening with us.
Yes, and for the sake of the citizen and for the Egyptian people, we have seen over the past 10 years, and more specifically in the fiscal year 2023-2024, we will be having the Ministry of Finance earmarking about 529 billion Egyptian pounds for the social protection packages and programs, instead of what we have had in 2014-2015 of 244 billion Egyptian pounds. So that is more than doubled it over the past 10 or 11 years. How do you see the efforts of the political leadership in this field?
They are trying as much as they can, and I'm surprised actually with all these efforts in comparison with what we are facing now. But I hope people will understand and try to not to be crave to ask for the small needs. We can ignore them temporarily in comparison with what we are facing now, because actually the feeling of safety we are feeling now is actually after a long history of efforts and political maneuvers to avoid the country of the negative results may be happening if any war happened.
You've mentioned a very important point, which is that the people need to be understanding the global conditions economically and politically. But how far do you think that they already understand the situation economically here in the country, especially after the landslide victory for His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the recent presidential elections?
Many people can understand, especially the highly educated people, but we have to recognize that we have a negative media war against our efforts and trying to give false informations about what's happening on the ground. So some people need to be more aware and of course, it's part of our responsibility to make them understand and to avoid the negativity of the pushed media to give them wrong ideas.
How can we be staying away from negativity, of course, more specifically on social media, because most of the psychological war or the media war, as you've mentioned, is directed through the social media means?
This is true, and that's why we have, everybody has a vision, should help and try to give his ideas and give more positive way of thinking to other people to make them understand.
Yes, as I said that we will be having a hike of about 529 billion Egyptian pounds from 244 billion Egyptian pounds in the space of about 10 years under the tenure of President Sisi. In your opinion, what are the sectors that we need to be directing those sums to it in the upcoming fiscal year?
Actually, I have my own way of thinking.
Yes.
I'm against the consumption lifestyle Egyptian people used to have for many decades, unfortunately.
Yes.
We have to remember how we faced before the crisis in the for example, October war, people couldn't find sugar, for example, and they used to put just dates on the tea, and nobody complained because they understood what we are facing. Now people, because the feeling of safety and security they don't recognize the very dangerous conspiracy, we can say that, is trying to be affecting our society. We should change our habits, change our way of lifestyle, being more practical. No need for being consuming our strategic goods, and try to be more understandable and more positive.
Yeah, speaking of consumption, especially that we are about a month away from the holy month of Ramadan, what are your pieces of advice for the Egyptian citizens regarding consumption, specifically in this holy month?
Actually, I used to have a fight with all the people around, because I think this month is a gift from God to make us understand how many gifts we have already,
yes,
and to save, not to use extra. I'm against the negative habits of food consumption and ways of thinking instead of being more spiritual in this month.
Yes, and more specifically as the head of the Board of Trustees of an NGO, do you deal with people who are consuming a lot, especially in the month of Ramadan, and we need to be giving them awareness about such a holy month and ways of consumption as well?
Of course, and also not to be lazy in this month. They use most of the day in sleeping and having excuses of they are fasting, so they don't want to do anything.
Yes.
I think the opposite supposed to be. The more efforts you do, you enjoy your time, and you don't feel time while you are working, instead of just waiting for the time of to break for breakfast. But I think we have to change our way of thinking about Ramadan.
And regarding the thinking of the political leadership or the government to be announcing those measures and this protection package announced by President Sisi ahead of the month of Ramadan, what is the importance of this increase in wages and salaries before the month?
Of course, it's a great and very passionate thing. It will make people more happy, or at least less suffering from the crisis. And I hope people will deal with it wisely, not in just consuming more in Ramadan.
Yes, about 35 million Egyptians will be getting benefits from the social protection package announced by President Sisi. Do you think that this will make them understand more about the global shocks that are taking place, more specifically maybe the COVID-19 pandemic that took place all over the world, all over the globe, and then the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, and then nowadays the aggression by Israel against Palestine in general and Gaza in specific?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. We have to increase their awareness, not to be just tightened to their own needs and their own benefits. We are living in a big challenges concerning many aspects in our life. So this is the challenge we have. Everybody should deliver the message to the others to make all of us one hand and not to be in isolated islands.
Yes, and what are the priorities, in your opinion, the arrangements that we need to be having, especially that we understand the global economic shocks, the challenges that are taking over the world? What can we be doing as citizens, and what can the political leadership and the government do to be responding well to those global shocks?
First of all, I hope every social help should be conditioned with some kind of vocational training, job opportunities, improving the skills of people, because people must understand they are not supposed to be waiting just for help. They are supposed to improve themselves to get rid of any needs or any help. They should consider it a temporary measure, not for good, because unfortunately many people start to feel this is our lifestyle. We are waiting for extension and more extension of pensions and social help without doing efforts to improve their skills. But this is, I hope, all the social help should be conditioned with certain timing to improve the people's skills and give them chances for vocational training.
Yes, President Assisi also spoke about raising the benefits from Takaful and the Karama program. Do you think that this will be reaching the neediest families and the neediest brackets of the society? And how do you think they will be dealing with such a raise and such an increase?
Actually, Takaful wa Karama is like a magic project. I'm very happy with. But still, we need more efforts in the training and improving the skills and giving chances to people to try to improve themselves in a vocational way. And so I'm asking to make any kind of pension and just temporary. They should understand that they have a chance. For example, in developed countries, 6 months only is the pension for unemployed citizen. It's not for good.
You have to get a job afterwards.
Yes, and if you cannot, you have to put some reason, medical reason or whatever reason you cannot. But it's not just to relax at home and waiting for money.
Yes, you mentioned a very important point, which is the vocational training and to be having more skills in different fields. What are the skills that we need from the young men, from the young women of Egypt nowadays to be going through the small and medium enterprises for the benefit of the citizens, for the benefit of the entrepreneurs and the economy in general?
We are an agricultural country, and many of our population is living in rural areas, especially in Upper Egypt. So the real and the great projects they can work in is considering the agricultural concept.
Yes.
Other than raising sheep or making other projects related to agricultural manufacturing, it will help a lot. Especially, we discovered in Ukrainian war what are the big mistakes have been done from several decades. Makes Egypt just depending in importing most of the strategic goods, starting from oil, rice, wheat, many of them. Even sugar, we used to import many of them. Now we achieved great progress, especially with sugar and with rice. So I hope we can continue to be independent.
Yes, and speaking of independence, the economic independence ever since 2016 under the tenure of President Assisi, we have seen the government adopting a new economic reform program. How would you assess this program nowadays?
In comparison with the challenges and the changes happening in the world, that's great. He's still continuing to achieve all the developmental projects and didn't stop. Although يعني anybody should think that everything will stop and will start to deviate. But actually, he's insisting to achieve the goals he put in the beginning.
How, in your opinion, we could be developing those programs, especially that we have achieved a lot through it in terms of infrastructure, transportation, building new smart cities, building and constructing a whole new capital, the new administrative capital. We have had a lot of things done over the past 10 years. How can we be building on such a successful story and to be developing this program?
Because we are not living alone in this world, we have enemies, and unfortunately part of them are from inside, not only outside. They are trying to prevent the continuity of our progress. This is the real challenges we are suffering now. And even if they cannot, at least they are trying to cover the image or the real success stories by putting us in crisis, even in sometimes manufactured crisis, just to cover the real stories.
Yes, Dr. Amany will be heading to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, which focuses on the swift measures taken by the political leadership and the government to be introducing new security and protection packages for the benefit of the Egyptian citizens. We'll be having more details in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
Egypt's Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli hailed as key decisions the directives issued by President Fattah al-Sisi for the government to implement a package of social measures, the largest of its kind, at a value of £180 billion as of March. The Premier highlighted government's continued effort to alleviate burden on citizens and contribute to containing repercussions of the global economic crisis across the country. Madbouli made the remarks during the weekly meeting of the cabinet to review a set of key files at the premises of the government in the new administrative capital. Madbouli asserted that several swift executive measures to be put into effect, the fresh social protection measures that paid due attention to the sectors of health, education, as well as pensioners, through raising minimum wages for all government workers and raising pensions starting in March. The President directed raising all salaries for government employees by 50% at a minimum of 1,000 Egyptian pounds to 1,200 Egyptian pounds to reach 6,000 Egyptian pounds. Meanwhile, the social package allocates 15 billion Egyptian pounds for increasing salaries of doctors, nurses, teachers, and university faculty. In addition, President Sisi issued instructions that 4.5 billion Egyptian pounds be allocated to increasing wages of medical professionals and nursing staff, whereby the risk allowance for medical professionals was increased by 250 Egyptian pounds to 300 Egyptian pounds. Similarly, the allowance for night and overnight shifts increased by 100%. He further instructed the government to allocate another 6 billion Egyptian pounds to hire 120,000 new doctors, nurses, teachers, and workers in other administrative bodies. In addition, the social package includes a 15% increase in pensions for 13 million citizens at 74 billion Egyptian pounds. It also includes a 15% increase in Takaful and Karama pensions at the cost of 5.5 billion Egyptian pounds in fiscal year 2023-2024. Moreover, an additional 41 billion Egyptian pounds will be allocated within the package to Takaful and Karama pensions for fiscal year 2024-2025. Furthermore, the social package includes raising the income tax exemptions for all employees in the government, public and private sectors by 33%, from 45,000 Egyptian pounds up to 60,000 Egyptian pounds at an annual cost of 5 billion Egyptian pounds.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me on the program for tonight is Dr. Amany, Houla, the physician, the writer, and the head of the Board of Trustees of a non-governmental organization, NGO. Thank you very much, Doctor, once again for being with us tonight. We have seen over the past report the importance of the subsidies being offered by the political leadership and the government for the Egyptian citizens. How do you see the importance of it, especially with the global economic challenges that we have witnessed?
Of course, as we have seen the increase of the crisis and the ununderstood, I cannot understand
Yes.
the crave of people for goods which accelerate the crisis. This time, I think it was very suitable for these measures to be taken, and I hope people will understand that we shouldn't deal with it's no picnic. We have challenges. We have to be more practical nowadays.
Do you think that the Egyptian family itself understands the gravity of the situation economically, and not just for Egypt or for the continent, globally?
Unfortunately, I think we have a problem with making them raised in awareness, and also in the same time, people must understand the value of work.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we lost a lot of these manners in the last few decades. I hope we can gain again the manners of being a productive person and independent instead of waiting for help.
How do you think we could be promoting the role of the civil society in terms of having more connections, more contributions to the kafala, to the takaful and the karama, to the Haya Karima, all those programs and the social protection programs in general?
Of course, we have to try to improve the awareness of people by the actions that are taken, by the procedures, by their rights and their, I want to say, the result of whatever they are provided with, instead of just competing to take as much as they can.
Yes, Doctor, we have seen the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, the aggression by Israel against Palestine, the COVID-19 pandemic taking over the world in 2019 and afterwards. How do you think the world dealt economically with such crises, and on the other hand, the response of the Egyptian government?
We are trying as much as we can, especially we have many challenges in the same time, which is not logic to be facing all these problems together, except if we understand that it's something made especially to delay our progress and to put us in crisis. But we have to understand and to be patient and more working on improving ourselves and trying to not to be demanding most of the time.
On the other hand, for the social protection programs, do we need to be expanding the base of beneficiaries that are receiving those help?
Of course, we have to, from time to time, to filter the people who are in need and try to make more investigations and discover more, because in any project we have some negativities, we have some intruders trying to gain as much as they can. The transparency and more supervision will help to filtrate and to achieve our goal and reach really the needy people.
And more specifically for the role of the political leadership and His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, as you mentioned, the transparency in terms of giving words, of giving speeches and statements and promises, most of all for the Egyptians. Do you think that President al-Sisi is transparent as possible with the Egyptians to make them understand the main topic, as you said in the beginning of the episode?
Actually, the thing we have to confess about his way of dealing with our country,
yes,
that he doesn't talk much, but he's acting much more than talking. And we discover what he is talking about after he achieved already whatever the project or the measures he is talking about.
Like a Baba nuclear power plant for the past week or two.
Of course, yeah. Actually, he is working hard and doesn't speak a lot, which make some people don't understand how many efforts are done on the ground.
Yes, for the past report, we have seen clarifications made by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli regarding the social protection packages and the announcements made by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to be making the people understand more what is happening when and how can they getting benefit of it. How do you see the crisis management support by the government, by the cabinet under Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli in the past few years?
They are trying hard, although we have a lot of issues concerning the demand of people, concerning the, unfortunately, traders who are trying to gain more from the crisis, which I think it's a crime. They should be punished double the normal penalties with dealing with a crisis in this way.
Yes, as the head of the Board of Trustees of an NGO, what is your opinion regarding those traders, those monopolizers, if we can call them that, because they take over the market and they set the price that they want for the citizen, and whatever happens, happens. They don't care about the citizen, they care about the money and the prices going up for their commodities. How do you think this should be dealt with for the future as well?
I think we have to put very strict and strong penalties against such behavior, and unfortunately we can see that it's the way of thinking expanding even to the normal citizen. When for example the dollar start to raise, people start to sell their own important things and to try to gain from the crisis. Although this will affect them later, but they don't have a broad spectrum vision. They cannot understand that they are like a person who is putting a fire on his own boat. But it will affect him, and the whole boat will be damaged, not only the other part. But people must understand they have not to run after immediate benefits, and making the long-term vision is in their consideration.
Yes, the government has allocated about 11 billion Egyptian pounds for about 9 million Egyptian families. We will be going to a very important topic with all the challenges that we have from the outside, economic challenges, political challenges coming from the region, and even in different parts of the world is still affecting us. How do you think birth control is important nowadays to be gaining success with what we have achieved, to be having the infrastructure, but we are having more and more people to be dealing with, more and more people to be serving in the future? Do you think that the mentality of the Egyptians has changed in this field?
I think we have achieved better changes, although we are using a very delicate and very a smooth way to ask people to change. Other countries like China, like Tunisia, they made very strong and very aggressive measures to prevent the birth, to make birth control for people. But because we have religious aspects and we understand our people way of thinking, we are trying in a smooth way, but actually it cost us a lot.
Yes, of course, it has cost us a lot, but we are focusing as well on education and healthcare under the tenure of President al-Sisi, and we are expecting more of His Excellency in the upcoming tenure. What do you expect in those two fields that are serving the adults and the children as well?
Of course, there are great progress in both fields, and also I think we will start to gain the results after many years of putting the roots and improving the infrastructure in both fields.
Yes, as the head of the Board of Trustees of an NGO, what is the importance of getting the NGOs and the private sector as well involved in those topics and fields?
It's very important, and because they understand the way of thinking of people, they are penetrating the very simple social areas, and help people to believe, not only waiting for the official words to be said, It's very important because they are touching people in a direct way and they are part of them. They believe them.
Yes, the Ministry of Social Solidarity as well has launched a program named Forsa, or an opportunity to be getting more job opportunities for the Egyptians, and more specifically for the Egyptian women and the Egyptian youth as well. What is the importance of Forsa in your opinion, and do you think it will be a successful program for the future?
Of course, this is a real way of thinking. I hope we can improve and make people understand and work on it. Because what is the meaning of waiting for pensions or supplies and having no vision or no way of thinking to improve my skills? But Forsa and some other projects of the same way of developing people is a great change of their way of thinking and lifestyle, which is very important.
Yes, the programs and the initiatives launched for women in specific and the women empowerment. What is the importance of having such a vision and such a mindset by the political leadership and President Sisi, as well as Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, to be helping the female breadwinners in a lot of families, the women in general, the young women, the youth in general, and of course to be getting education and then to be getting a job opportunity in the market?
Of course, if we know that 40% almost of the Egyptian families are taken care of by breadwinner ladies, this is a huge amount of help we need to support them with, instead of leaving them without any skills, without any ways of improving their life. But if you give them a training and then a job opportunity or even a small project she can work on, even at least to satisfy their own needs by simple ideas like, especially in agricultural areas, it will help a lot, even minimizing the pressure on the economic needs in the country.
Yes, Doctor, you mentioned a very important statistic for the Egyptian women. About 40% of the Egyptian women, they need a job, they need money consistently all over the month to be supporting their families as well. What are the fields that they are interested in your opinion?
Of course, we have the traditional way of dealing with handmade stuff, and of course, Egypt is one of the rich cultural country. Our culture is full of small details and lovely products. This is a simple way, and it's like a hobby. It's a beautiful hobby to improve their skills and produce some nice products. And actually, Ministry of Solidarity helps in making many exhibitions like Turasna and many other, and even external exhibitions to give them a chance, especially the extinguished of them, to show their products and to be a role model for the others.
Yes, Dr. Amany Houla, the physician, the writer, and the head of the Board of Trustees of an NGO. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate.
Thank you very much.
Anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.